Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment clip. My name is Wood. Please hit that subscribe button if you like the way that anything or any topics are being broken down or discussed on the channel. Rock with me in the future. Hit that like button, so on and so forth. Again, man, this is my world. This is what I get to spend my leisure time doing and enjoying. And I really wanted Pay Me No Mind to be a spot where like-minded people could find. It could be a kind of a conduit for people to find things that they're interested in these same things. Maybe they don't have time to do it anymore. I got a lot of time on my hands, and so on and so forth. Look, what I'm gonna get ready to get into is this track "Steppers" from this cat named Flea Lord. But this verse from Conway the Machine is just it's short. It's a short verse. It's actually part of a freestyle that I saw on YouTube. But just the skill, all the attributes that you would want in an MC and in a verse, he does it here, and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna get into that. I might ramble on into getting about the current state of what's going on in New York with all of these different rappers that I'm and all of these different projects that I'm stumbling across, and has really just renewed my interest in hip hop music and the focus on the crafts of beat making as well as rhyming, MCing. And this is kind of an extension over on my Instagram page. I do a series. I used to do a podcast, an audio only podcast. It was edited, so on and so forth, blah blah blah. But I lost the opportunity or the ability to do the podcast the way that I like to with the quality that I aim for, and so I ended up just while I'm mowing my yard, I have all of these different things that I talk through, music that I listen to, uh, so on and so forth, discussions that I have while I'm mowing my grass. So I started something called the Lawn Cast, where I put those episodes up over on my Instagram page, and usually I'm able to really dig into some music while I'm mowing. So that's kind of what the Lawn Cast was, and then this discussion right here on this Conway verse. This is just an extension of that. But anyway, this joint, the song is called "Steppers" from this kid named Flea Lord. I didn't do a whole review on Flea Lord's most recent project, Lucky 13. Uh, or did I? I might have mentioned it in a live stream. I think I did actually, but it was mixed in with boxing and something else, The Last Dance or something. But yesterday, as I'm mowing on the weekend, uh, on Amazon, it started spinning me through when it reaches the end of a project or the end of an album, it just randomly picks other like music to get into, and so I stumbled across. Uh, I've just been stumbling across all of these interesting dudes that are all kind of like on off of the coaching tree or the MCing tree or the let's just leave it at MC tree of Conway the Machine, West Side Gun, and Benny the Butcher. And so anyway, I checked out Lucky 13, decent, solid project. And then yesterday I got into, let me check out more of Flea Lord's work since he showed up on Conway and the Ghost Big Ghost LTD. Since he showed up on their record, No One Mourns the Wicked. Let me go listen to some more of Flea Lord's catalog. The dude did like 5 projects in 2019. Some ungodly amount of work. And so I checked out Pray for the Evil with this producer named Mephux. And then I also listened to Loyalty or Death And then Loyalty and Trust with 38 Special, who's another dude. I don't know the hierarchy here, but all of these dudes are off of this Griselda tree. And then there's also Rock Marciano, who from what I understand, could be at the head of this DIY movement in East Coast music. But I'll get into 38 Special a little later at another time. Let's get into this verse though. And no, I don't want to slight Flea Lord whatsoever. He's a different dude. He does his thing on this Steppers joint, but the Conway bars are they just do what they do. But Conway comes in and says, "Yo, I just bought a new 4/5 from my man when he came from Atlanta." I thought he said something Trump World or something, but it says just got back from a road trip. Gave me 2 cartridges, a box of bullets for both clips. He said you better buy a couple more. They gonna be sold quick. And then Conway is like, I asked my man, yo, he says the N-word or something, but when you sliding off, I'm about to go and pull this jukes off tonight. I'll be back tomorrow to buy them all. I took a loss, but I'm back now buying raw. Sell it for the Shaq, but get it for the Brian Shaw. If you know Shaq's numbers, his number was like what, 32 or 34. Then I believe Brian Shaw was number 20. So this is kind of Wire talking away from Prop Joe's whole buy for one, sell for two. Sell for two, buy for one, whichever way he said it. But this is the economics, the street economics that Griselda is constantly weaving into their raps, and I mean it makes it work. They make it work. But he says, yeah, you know, I'm back buying raw, sell it for the Shaq, but I get it for the Brian Shaw. Letting off this Mac got you lame cats trying to climb a wall. I put the pressure on your shooters like Kawhi the Claw. He must like Kawhi. I've heard he reference Kawhi a couple times. Yeah, in every verse I'm applying more. Heard 6ix9ine testified, I'm not surprised at all. We walking down on shit. We ain't driving by. I brought Flea with me. He been dying to slide. My nun did 12 years for letting that iron fly. Left when he was 16, came home Zion size. You know, and then there's some more to this verse. He mentioned something about Carmelo Anthony. It's like an NBA heavy verse. If you go check out the whole freestyle, I think it was called Fire in the Booth. This song is only 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Like I said, I'm having to grow, as an older hip hop listener, I'm having to grow accustomed to, you know, albums aren't what albums were. Albums now aren't what albums were, you know, in the 90s, late 80s and whatnot, mid 90s, and even the 2000s. Like, now it's just, and they mentioned this in some of it was an interlude I heard the other day with, on another one of these projects, and Benny the Butcher was talking about, you know, we just looking for dudes with similar work ethics. And they like, you know, obviously everybody that they rock with has some ability, but who's willing to stay in the booth and get and shoot these projects out there, which is something I'm very intrigued to know how they make all this work. You know, how much does it cost to clear samples or buy a sample? What has happened in the last 5 to 10 years to streamline all of this to where you don't really hear much about sample clearance, and maybe people just need money, you know. But how do you work with all of these different producers? What do they invoice these cats? It's phenomenal just the commerce that's going on right now to make all of this happen. I'm also down in the comment sections and I see a guy like Flea Lord, who hasn't really broke through on a similar level just yet to the Griselda guys, but you know he's out. I'm seeing in the comments where he's part of one of the opening acts. Uh, you know, when Griselda is on tour and whatnot. So more people are finding out about him. Um, and like I said, man, these guys could be out. They could be at home doing different. They could be living some of this stuff out, I guess, versus just you know, putting out these projects. And then like I mentioned before, you know, I'm kind of at a crossroads with like I'm worlds removed from any of this stuff. You know, how do I find it interesting? But when you throwing in bars like, you know, sell it for the Shack, but I bought it, but I get it for the Brian Shaw, Kawhi the Claw, my man came home Zion size. You know, that's how you increase the appeal of this, and different people can relate to it. I still respect MCing and create wittiness and creativity and whatnot. And then also, I don't, you know, I don't shame myself too much because I've really looked at listening to this catalog, especially during this shelter in place situation. Listening to a lot of these projects, man, is almost is tantamount to listening to or to watching all of the shows that I'm binge watching. I'm looking at right now. I just finished. I had time, so I went back and checked out Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul is about Jimmy McGill and all this lawyer stuff and the politics and lawyer, you know, the law and making money from practicing the law and how they do their thing. But then in the backside, in the background, Better Call Saul is all about uncovering the backstory of the Salamanca's family and Gus Fring and Don Eladio and all of this this drug trafficking, you know, and so on and so forth. Most of the series, I just rewatched The Wire last week. I just finished up rewatching the fifth season of that. We obviously know The Wire was about that. Was about drug trafficking and distribution and selling dope. Um, Quite often, you know, it's something about criminal stuff going on in most of the series that I watch. Yellowstone is getting ready to come back. It's a bunch of illegal stuff going on Yellowstone, which is based out in Wyoming or something, or Montana or something, whatever. So yeah, if I'm watching Ozark, it's all about Omar Navarro. So yeah, I mean it's amazing how much time in that 000 series that I broke down a couple of weeks ago. At the heart of all of this stuff is watching you know, entertainment based around controlled substances and drug trafficking. So listening to all of this stuff, I just listened to another interesting project, Baladas by Estee Nack and a producer named Supreme. I think Supreme is the producer. This got like 19, 18 joints on, nah, it might be 15. But not a bad project. I've listened to it about 3 or 4 times. Estee Nack reminds me of Flea Lord. And then there's also this Beauty of It All album that I just listened to with this rapper named Eto. Eto is connected to Flea Lord. I mean, Flea Lord shows up on Beauty of It All. So, like I said, man, it's just been this renewed interest in the beat making. Some of these different producers that I'm finding out about. That's what I connect with. I guess lastly, one thing when I listen, because they got a ton of different features on here. You don't even know none of these guys. You don't know what they look like. You can find some of them on Instagram and whatnot. But you hear a lot of thoughtful lyrics. You know, I don't know if these dudes are graduating high school, so on and so forth. But like I said, I'm a huge fan of words and thoughtful writing and whatnot. A lot of these guys seem like they could be writing episodes of Ozark or The Wire, you know, especially for the street sides of these programs. But one thing, you know, for me, when I listen to a lot of New York stuff, a lot of I was listening to some stuff by the Baby. He does what he does. I'm glad he has his fan base. He's not bad on the microphone, so on and so forth. But I'm just using him as an example. You know, I checked out a couple of his joints, and it's just repetitive and either punching a dude in the face. And there's a lot of that with Griselda, breaking somebody's jaw. But he was just talking about getting some head. And it's just, you know, I'm getting my joints up. You know, 1 out of every 3 verses. Grabbed a girl and went back to the car and got my joints up. And, okay. It's no surprising that you're a dude making good money and got a certain level of fame, and you can coerce a young lady to do, or a female to do, these services that you would like perform. Okay. But, you know, one thing in listening to some of the dudes from New York, is such a different spin on getting some head. I mentioned this in the lawn cast, I think last week when I mowed the yard with this joint with I can't think of the rapper's name from Newark. Damn. They got a song called Randy for All Started Great. And the Butcher is on there. Something he says, you know, the girl gave some top to me. I have her swallowing and gurgling, something, but that's the only way she get to shop at Bloomie's. And it's like I said, I mean, it's taking this, you know, this unacceptable, this despicable, you know, view towards women, and then adding in this wittiness, you know, like I said, all of it's only entertainment. Like Jay said, it's only entertainment. The same things happen in all of these series. You got women, you know, especially on Power. Look at how the women were used on there, or presented on there, or portrayed on there. So it is what it is, man. Anyway, I said I just was getting on here bumping my gums about some this verse, man. Steppers, check it out. You know, Conway continues, and even on that track, The Fire in the Booth, you know, I don't even, well, from what I saw, Benny didn't even get on after Conway. You know, they just kind of had some drinks. You know, that's what it said as a crew. That's why nobody can mess with us. That's why no one can touch us right now. We're on fire right now. And, you know, verses like this, and watching that interaction between Benny and Conway as Conway spit that verse, you admire the competition in these guys. They're like, he won today. You know, iron sharpens iron. He won today. You know, I can't top that right now. But let me go back and you know, get back. I'll be back on the next one. And I just think these two dudes are really pushing each other, and that's why Griselda is really doing what it's doing on the level that it's doing it right now. And no slight to Westside Gunn, who, you know, is phenomenal at his curator thing. Hey, my name is Wood. Probably nobody made it this far into the video, but check out Steppers. Let me know what you thought about the song. Peace.